Greetings. Welcome back to the Morning Breadcast. I am Mark Krishick, your host from Digging for End Time Truths, and we are here this week covering the seen and the unseen. And we are just getting a little deeper every day. Yesterday, we covered the unseen spirit man and how it's going to benefit us. I mean, it's important to understand that there is an unseen world out there. We're going to get a little deeper today. I want to cover some of the seen world, right? How do you know that there's a God? What did Jesus say about it, right? Well, first of all, I want to start today in the Gospel of John in the first chapter, where John is talking about Jesus being the Word. In verse 14, he says, "And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. The glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth." In other words, John is saying Jesus is real. We seen him. We were hanging out with him, right? He is witnessing to the truth that Jesus did come, okay? So let's go to John chapter 14, because Jesus is talking to disciples, and Philip says to him, "Just show us the Father, and that's good enough for us, Jesus." And Jesus says in verse 9 of chapter 14, he says, Jesus said to him, talking to Philip, he says, Have I been with you so long, and yet you have not known me, Philip? He who has seen me has seen the Father. So how can you say, show us the Father? Jesus is saying, dude, I am the manifestation of the Spirit being God the Father. I am a manifestation of it. The three are one, okay? And you shouldn't even ask that. I am the manifestation. So Jesus is explaining to us that he is the seen part of the unseen world in those days, okay? So as we go through the Gospels, Paul talks in Colossians in the first chapter. He says this about Jesus. He says, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. Verse 16 says, for by him all things were created, that are in heaven, that are on earth, the visible, the seen things, and the invisible, the unseen things. Whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created through him and for him. Okay? So Jesus Paul is saying he's the image of the invisible God. He's the firstborn over all creation. He says Jesus made everything, the visible things and the invisible things, right? Whether they're thrones or principalities or powers, he's talking about demonic spirits. He's talking about fallen angels. He's talking about good angels, bad angels. Paul says he made them all, okay? And all these things were created through him, in other words, through Jesus and for him. In other words, all things work for his purposes, okay? So I want to leave you with a little encouragement today that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you see, no matter what you're dealing with in your life, all things work for good to those who love the Lord. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. Jesus created them all for a purpose, and they are working for you to get into a deeper relationship with him. That's what it's all about, right? So that you can live for others, to see that witness, and that they can give it on and on and on and show forth the fruits of the Spirit, and that this unseen world can be seen how? Through you and through me. So go out and be a seen in this world of the unseen. We'll see you again next time on the Morning Breadcast.